मी भाऊसाहेब सीताराम आरोटे, RBNB कॉलेज, श्रीरामपूर. In topic biodiversity, conservation and environmental issue, if we study about the biodiversity and conservation of the earth, from ancient day, so many changes will be held for the formation of earth. Which are these? Because different era will be found on this earth from the millions of the years. So many changes or drastic changes can be found on the earth. Some type of the species as well as animals get lost. Newly formed or newly born species of the mammals or as animals or as plants can be produced or as a form on the earth. Today we see between these, that is loss of biodiversity. In loss of biodiversity, which plays a key role for the loss of the biodiversity. There are some reasons for the loss of biodiversity. On overall, that is imbalance of earth can be found. On the overall, that is imbalance of earth can be found on the ecosystems. The chief serious aspect of the loss of biodiversity is extinct of the species. There are three types of the extinction of the species, that is natural extinction, mass extinction and man-made, that is the anthropogenic extinction. If we see, that is here are the three types of the extinction, that is one is the natural extinction, second is the mass, and last is the man-made. What is the natural extinction? So many, that is when damage of the biodiversity takes place due to the both natural and man-made reasons. Natural reasons includes forest, fires, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions. If we see, that is a natural extinction. In natural extinction, what are the natural extinction? If we see, that is the reasons behind, that is the forest fires. Naturally, in the forest, the fire can be seen, so a lot of forest will be burned out in it. But within some, that is some people's that is fired these forests, so loss of abundant species or number of species of the plants as well as animals get lost between these fires. Some natural like of the earthquake. When earthquake done, in earthquake, between this earthquake, some species of the plants as well as animals goes towards the ends. These directly affect to the species. Then next, volcanic eruption. In volcanic eruptions, that is these some varieties or as some plants as well as animals are so lost there. So in volcanic rocks, some cyclones will be found each and every year. The cyclones directly affect to the ends of the some species of the plants, because cyclones is very powerful. In these cyclonic conditions, so many species get died or ends, that is plants as well as animals. If we see some example in our country, in our India as well as all over the world, so many cyclones comes directly affect to the species. Between these cyclonic conditions, that is the rainfall is very high and cyclonic condition is very high. Between these, so many species goes towards the ends in these natural conditions. Then man-made reasons. What is meant by man-made reasons? That is the population on the earth. On the earth, it will be increases. For the habitat of the mammals destruct the ecosystem on the earth for their habitations or as a habit to live into this particular climatic condition. And then hunting. So many different type of the animals will be found into the forest. That is the hunting decreases the population of these varieties of species. If we take a best example in India, that is the tigers. All over the world, the tigers get ends towards the ends. So many type of the varieties of these plants get toward the end by the hunting of the mammals. Then next is the settlement or as a overexploitation. What is settlement? Each and every person have to live in a particular area. For the rehabilitation of these organisms, he cut the plants as well as ends the organism or as animal. So this settlement also important for the loss of biodiversity by the mammals or as a human being. That the over-exploitation and reclamation. In over-exploitation, that is the population of the earth or as the mammals will be increases. It directly affect on the biodiversity for the death of the plants as well as animals. So over-exploitation is directly affect on the biodiversity to decrease or to ends the varieties of the plants as well, plant species as well as animal species. Some extinct era, that is suppose best example from the ancient day, some reptilia or reptiles era was there, that is it is known as the dinosaurs. These species get towards the ends. Now a present days, so different type of the plants as well as animals, they are also goes towards the ends. Because why? That is endemic and endangered species now seen. After some days, these species cannot be found. So we have need to protect these species or as variety. In between these, that is the Cretaceous era and Cenozoic period, so many species get lost because these are the millions of the years for the formation of earth. So many era will be found or shown on the earth from the back of the million years to the present days. So between these Triassic and Jurassic periods, these are the some plants as well as animals seen, but nowadays it cannot be found, cannot be seen. Then Permian and Triassic periods, that is between Devonian and Carboniferous period, some variety are in the form of fossils will be seen. So these variety goes towards the ends. Some variety of some species will be found into the fossil form. So if we compare to the present or as the ancient days, so many varieties, that is species as well as plants as well as animals, so many type of the species goes towards the ends, and these are the very big loss of the biodiversity in present condition from ancient day, that is million days to the yet or as a present days. When we are aware of 5 mass extinction during various stages. What is mass extinction? That is so many people, that is community of peoples will be established in a particular area. They can end these particular climatic conditions, that is particular species plants as well as animal. So there are the these are very directly affect to the loss of the biodiversity. In between this, that is the history. If we see the stage of the history of the earth from the ice age, in ice age, the current loss of biodiversity is considered to be a 6th extinction. In ice age, where the temperature falls, and that is ice will be formed on the earth, that times different type of the varieties or species of the plants goes toward the ends. These are the 6th extinction. Then for progressing at the alarming rate, which is extinct to the 100 or as a thousands time faster than pre-human times. This rate of loss of biodiversity, it was the 100 or 1000 times in ice age than the pre-humans. So ecologists blame this to the human intervention of the natural habitat. In between natural habitat, that is trends to continue, might lose about the 50% of diversity. In this period, about 50% biodiversity will be lost. Loss of this biodiversity in area can lead to the decline in plant production. Suppose today we see that is the formation of the house or as a buildings or as a civilization. Between this civilization, so many hectare or as a acre, that is forest as well as jungle, it will be cutted, and for the development, that is rural and urban development, so many forests, that is hectares of the forest or a jungle will be cutted for the development of the human by urbanization or as a civilization. So these are the great loss for the biodiversity. Lower in this resilience of the environmental disturbances like flood. Nowadays, suppose we see that is flood is also affect, that is the biodiversity. A lot of species in the flood get flows, they cannot sink into the next. So flood can causes again as a loss of biodiversity. And these floods may be leads to the alternation in environmental processes like disease cycles, plant productivity, etc. That is, flood plays important role in the life cycles. That is like of the diseases and plant productivity, it will be decreases. That is, loss of biodiversity can be seen. So, if we see the causes of the biodiversity or the losses of the biodiversity, there are four major causes. For the loss of biodiversity, it is known as the evil quarter. The loss of biodiversity, there are the four important major causes for the loss of the biodiversity. First is the habit loss by the fragmentation. First, habit loss by the fragmentation. In this, it is the prime cause of destruction, reduction in vast natural habitat and local degradation by pollution. These are the, if we see that is habitat loss in fragmentation, these are the prime cause of destruction, reduction in vast natural habitat and local degradation by the pollution. Nowadays, today we see on the earth that is pollution is increases. This pollution directly affect on the species of plants as well as animal. So it creates the crisis situation for the living being. This population creates the crisis situation in the living being, that is loss of local habitat. Loss of local habitat due to human activity creates threat of migratory birds as well as those animals that need larger territories, that is tropical rainforest, are being lost at alarming rate. That is tropical rainforest cover has reduced from near about 14 to 6% over the years. In between this, that is the crisis of the human being, they lost the so many type of the biodiversity, that is plants as well as animals, in a longer or a larger times, because in territories, that is tropical rainforest is being lost or as an alarming rate. That is, in tropical rainforest, near about 14 to 6% species of the plants as well as animal, that is the organism species, will be lost. So these are the very dangerous. So that is the over exploitation. In between over exploitation, that is the basic difference between human being and other animal, is that human have the tendency to accumulate beyond their needs. This has resulted the over exploitation. For the completion of human need, the other organism, that is human being, cannot survive to the other human being kills to the other organism and to self-settle to between these conditions. So the best example for it, that is dodo birds, settler sea cow and passenger pigs, they are now goes ends to the over exploitation. So that is the need of the human being will be increases, it directly affects to the loss of different species of the plants as well as animal. So these are the great loss of the biodiversity by the that is the need of the human being, and it directly causes or affect for the biodiversity. Then alien species inventions. What is the alien species inventions? The new species get introduced. Different type of that is in a particular climatic condition, or new species will be introduced there. These in this ecosystem, that is accidentally or intentionally, these are the chances that proves harmful for extinct species. If any new variety will be established in particular climatic condition, these are harmful to the extinct condition, so they again lost to the biodiversity. Sometimes it can lead to the extinct of the local species. In each case, it is called as a invasive species. Example, that is a carrot grass and water hyacinth. Introduction of predators, that is fish like of the Nile perch in Lake Victoria, proved declarations for near about 200 local species of cichlid fish. If new species of the fish will be established into new ponds, that is, these are the harmful to the original or as origin species, that is, origin species get ends by the employing or as adapting new species or as new varieties there. In India, introductions of African catfish for aquaculture purpose has proved harmful to endemic catfish varieties. One of the major reasons of such harmful effect of alien species, lack of local predator. These are the best example, because why? That is, in India, that is, African catfish will be grown into the acquired culture. It get ends to the that is natural variety of the fish. So these are the lack of the local predator. Then next is the coexistence. What is the coexistence? Many times, that is, origins are associated with each other. These are the obligatory origin of these species. These are the associated with the obligatory way. In such cases, extinction of one variety leads to loss of associate variety from the ecosystem. If we see the example, that is, the extinction of host fish causes extinction of unique parasites. Collard, that is a plant pollinator, also will have such a threats. If these are the some animals are the plant pollinator, these goes ends or between these, that is the coexistence condition. Now we are aware of threat to diversity and loss of species from Earth. When any species is totally eliminated from Earth, it is called as extinct. Any type of the species on the Earth is totally eliminated, it is called as extinct, that is a dinosaurs. These are the best example on the Earth. Dinosaur is extinct now, or they may be ends on the Earth. When the member of the species starts to down leading, it is said to be endangered. A particular species of the plants or as animals goes towards the endangered. The International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, that is IUCN, maintain the red data book known as red list. That is these are the International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, that is IUCN, maintain a red data book, also known as red list, where conservation status of plants and animal species is recorded. What is meant by red list? That is, these plants as goes towards the ends, they will be listed into these books. So name is given, that is a red list or as a red data book. And now trying to conserve this variety or this species is a very big question to the scientists as well as so many peoples. Then we see, after the given of the some species has lost, thoroughly evaluated, it is placed into one of the following several categories. If we see which are these, that is extinct. First category is the extinct categories. Extinct category, that is EX. What is the extinct category? A design applied to the species in which the last individual has died or is not recorded. In extinct, these are designed applied to the species in which the last individuals had died or not recorded. Next is the extinct in the wild. Extinct in the wild, that is EW, extinct in the wild. Again, these are in this category containing those species whose members survive only in captivity. In extinct wild variety, this category containing those species whose members survive only in captivity. Third type is critically endangered. critically endangered, that is that is CR. These are the category containing those species that possesses an extremely high risk of extinction with very few surviving members, that is only the 50 members are surviving in this. Then endangered, next is the endangered. That is EN. In endangered species, these are the designation applied to species that possesses a very high risk of extinction as a result of rapid population decline of 50 to more than 70% over the previous 10 years or 3 generations. In endangered span, these are the designation applied to species that possesses a very high risk of extinction. How many? Near about 50 to 70% already get lost from the previous years or as 3 generations. And then next is the vulnerable species. These are the category containing those species that possesses a very high risk of extinction as a result of rapid population decline of near about 30 or more than 50% over the previous 10 years. So these are having again as a 3 generation. From previous 3 generation, how many varieties will be goes extinct, how many percent, near about 30 or as more than 30 to 50% variety goes towards the extinct. So it will be included into the vulnerable. Then near threatened. What is near threatened? A designation is applied again as a species that are close to becoming threatened or many meet the criteria for threatened status in the near futures. That is near future. Again, these are the criteria keep forth. What is in near futures? Some variety will be goes ends. Then list concern. What is list concern? In list concern, a category containing species that are previous and abundant after careful assessment. These are the this type of the variety having the category containing species that are the previous or as a abundant careful assessment. Then data deficient. What is the data deficient? In this condition, that is the applied to species in which the amount of available data related to the risk of extinction to lacking in some way. And last, that is now evaluated. It is again as a category used to include any of the nearly 1.9 million species described by scientists but not assessed by the IUCN. In this, that is non-evaluated, near about 1.9 million species yet not evaluated by the scientists, that is IUCN, means that is a Union of Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. Okay, thank you.